Today we're going to learn about index function, then match function, and then how index and match together can be used to fetch the information that we need, and how index and match together as a function is much better than VLOOKUP, right? So yeah, let's start about it. This is a supermarket and it has different items like cereals, dessert, silverware, Nutribars, right? Cereals are kept in aisle B2, desserts are in aisle A3, silverware in aisle D1, and Nutribars in aisle C4, right? Now, we're going to start with index. So what we need to understand first is that index function uses the column name and the row number and the point where the column and row intersect, that cell and that cell's value is what index will fetch us, right? Let's say column J and row 16. Now this cell where column J and row 16 intersect, this cell's value is what index will fetch us, if at all this cell had any value, which it doesn't for now. So let me come here. I want to see which aisle silverware is kept in. So I'll come here and type equals index. I'll press tab to select it. The array would be nothing but this data selection and this range from where the lookup value and the data which I need to fetch exists in, right? I'm going to lock this reference and say comma and the row number. I know silverware in this data selection happens to be in the third row, starting from cereals, dessert, silverware, right? 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put 3 here and say comma, and column number happens to be 1 because I need information about silverware's aisle. And in this selection, the aisle happens to be in the first column. So I'll put 1, and there is another optional argument, which is area number. It's optional. I don't need to use it right now. I'll just close bracket and say enter. Now it has returned D1. Now D1 is the aisle in which silverware is kept, right? As you see here. So index helped me find out this information. Now how does match help me, right? In simple terms, match tells me the position of a value that I'm looking up in a list of items, right? Now silverware in this list of items is in third position. So this function match should give me the number 3 here, right? So let's see if that is the case. I'll say equals match lookup value. Lookup value would be silverware, comma, lookup array. Where do I look up silverware in? In this array, right? Now, important thing to note here is when it comes to match function, the lookup array has to be one single line. Either it is vertical or horizontal. It's just one single line in which it looks up. Now, what Excel will do for me is it will see that this is the array in which I need to look, and I need to look this value, which is silverware, in this list, right? I'll lock this reference by pressing function F4. It's locked here, and then I'll say comma, and the match type has to be exact match. So I'll come here, press tab to select it, and close the bracket, right? And say enter. It gives me row number 3, right? Silverware happens to be in row number 3. And if I change this from silverware to desert here, this should change as soon as I enter to row number 2 in this data range. I'll say enter, it gives me 2, right? I'll do an undo and come back to silverware, which happens to be 3. Now, understand the importance of the match function. When we were in index, we manually typed the row number as 3. Now this is a very small data set. It has only 4 items. So you were able to physically see and say that, silverware is in the third row. But if you're dealing with large data, basically data which has like 600 rows, let's say 5,000 rows even, you wouldn't really know the row number for a particular item, right? For that, match function helped us. Now this position of silverware in this list happened to be number 3, which also happens to be the row number if seen in this data range, right? So that's exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to use index and match together to tell us which IL silverware is in. So I'll say equal to index, bracket open. The array happens to be this whole data range. I'm going to press function F4 to lock it and press comma. The row number would be given to me by our match function as we saw. I'm going to say MAT and then select this by pressing tab. My lookup value happens to be this here. And I'll say comma. My lookup array would be this single line. I'll press function F4 to lock it and say comma. And then I want an exact match, right? I'll close the bracket and say comma. Now I'm back to the syntax of index function, which is asking me for column number. Now column number, as we saw earlier, is 1 because we want the detail about the IL. So I'll press 1 here, close bracket and enter. So it has given me the IL as D1 without me having to manually type in the row number, which I had to do here, right? Now you'll see the importance of this when we come to the next worksheet, which we're going to do now, because this worksheet has a lot of data, right? This, as we saw in the last VLOOKUP video, it has a lot of data about students doing MBA in a college. Their data about name, roll number, gender, and specialization has been given. And like last time, a few of the students did not update their information on their college portal, and the university gave these roll numbers to the college, asking them to provide details about their name and specialization. Let's use index and match to get these details. I'll say equals index tab. The array happens to be this entire list, right? I'll do Control Shift right arrow, then Control Shift down arrow key. We have about 136 students right here. And I'm going to lock this reference because I know very well that this is the range that I need to look into. I'll say comma, and then the row number. For the row number, we saw the match function helps us. Let me type MAT, press tab, open bracket, and then lookup value, right? I'll come back to this tab, which is index and match practice tab, and select my lookup value, which is the roll number. I'll say comma. My lookup array happens to be this entire list of roll numbers starting from the first roll number till the end. I'll again press function F4 to lock it and say comma, and then I want an exact match, so I press tab. After selecting that, I close bracket, press comma, and it asks me for column number, and the name happens to be the first column in this data selection. So I press 1, close the bracket and say enter. All right, it has given me the name, which is Janardhan Rautela. I double tap here to make it auto-populate and then come here for specialization. I again use index function. I say equal to index. Press tab to open brackets. My array would be the same, right? All these names, Control Shift right arrow key, then Control Shift down arrow key. And let me lock the cell reference, press comma. My row number would be given by match function. So I'll type MAT and then tab. My lookup value for my lookup value will come to this worksheet. I'll click here and then press comma. My lookup array would be all the roll numbers, right? So I'll select this from top to bottom, lock this reference, press comma again, give me an exact match, close brackets, press comma, and now for column number, I need to see which column specialization lies in, right? It starts from this data selection of ours, which is name column. Then second would be roll number, third is gender, and fourth is specialization. So let me go ahead and type 4 and then close bracket and enter. Gives me operations. All I have to do now here is come here and do a double click for it to auto populate, right? Which it has. And now all I need to do is do one check. Let me see if roll number, which ends with 832, is having the name Saryunan, and whether Saryunan has a specialization of marketing or not. I'll come to this sheet, which is class list, and look at the number, roll number, which ends with 832, right? So 832 is here, and that is Saryunan, and her specialization is marketing, right? So this is how index and match literally eases our life, and it is much better than VLOOKUP. Like you saw, it doesn't really, you don't really need to look left or right. You can look anywhere and still get your answer, unlike VLOOKUP, where your data which you need has to be towards the right side of the lookup values column, right? If the data which you want is towards the left-hand side of the lookup values column, you're not going to be able to use VLOOKUP. So this was index and match. Thank you. And if it really helped you, do like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.